Hi everyone and welcome to your latest planning outlook updated on Friday the 14th of February. It really is just looking like more of the same over the next week to 10 days. We've got further very stormy conditions coming through at times, a bit of freeze and thaw through this weekend with some significant flooding possible across England and Wales. And then some colder days again into next week as freezing levels drop for a few days. But the general outlook, must be said, even later next week still looks very unsettled. We'll start with temperatures, this usual at 850 millibars, representing the highest tops, particularly in Scotland. We start Saturday just around or below freezing on the high tops. A warm sector comes through, temperatures lifting just above freezing temporarily, generally above freezing across the tops of England and Wales. Onwards into Sunday, eventually a cold front will clear southeastwards and temperatures and freezing levels will again drop. And that will then lead us into a good run of days through into the early part of next week where we stay sub-zero throughout, with mountain top temperatures -4, -5, maybe nudging a little bit below that for a day or so. Freezing levels around 600 to 800 metres and occasionally coming down a bit lower, particularly where the precipitation is very frequent across western mountains, especially in Scotland. This then onwards into midweek and that cold polar maritime westerly flow is around. Just then the hint toward the later part of the week of a return to cycles of freeze and thaw, but only brief pushes of milder air. Again, that chilly westerly is never too far away, and that really looks like the theme even towards next weekend. Probably England and Wales, the higher tops there going generally back above freezing though. This is what that does for the snow depth. This is the ongoing sequence then of the situation in 6-hour time periods. And starting off with Saturday, where the snow is extensive across the Highlands, just thins away a little bit over the weekend as that rain comes through and freezing levels lift. But if we take that on through into Sunday, as temperatures lower again, then things start to accumulate once more across the Highlands, and something showing up across northern England as well. And as we run on into the early parts of next week, again, it's the west and northwest Highlands with belts of showers of snow and hail coming in that will renew those accumulations, and starting to see things a bit further south as well. This taking onwards through the middle of the week, and even a suggestion maybe towards the back end of the week of still cold enough air to give some temporary accumulations, at least on the tops of Wales and the Pennines. It's Scotland, though, that is still the main focus for any lying snow, the Western Highlands seeing the greatest amounts there. The synoptic charts for the next 5 days looking like this. Saturday's storm system, Storm Dennis, is the one that's lying well to the northwest. It's a complicated feature because it will have almost several different centres just sort of working around each other over the next day or so. It's a big conveyor belt of southwesterly winds, though, and a frontal wave that comes in from the southwest of Ireland, shown here, will really run into the western hills of Wales, northern England, south and southwest Scotland for some prolonged, heavy and torrential falls, particularly through Saturday afternoon, evening and night. So considerable flooding is likely to redevelop across Wales and northern England and across the south of Scotland too. Across the Highlands, with the milder air, the warm sector only sort of temporarily in place, there will be some rain, but it'll be snow on the very highest tops, I should think, at least to start with and to finish with, as that frontal system goes through. And it's a stormy day. Wind gusts on the highest tops could well be 90 to 100 miles per hour once again. By Sunday, the cold front then has passed southeastwards, that long-lived rainfall event moving away from Wales and northern England. Showers will follow, and those still frequent across western Scotland, and will return to England and Wales as well, those increasingly again of snow and some hail, and it stays very windy indeed. Gale force winds from low levels up, and the risk of hurricane force winds across the higher terrain. The centre of Storm Dennis hasn't really moved very far. It's still just to the south of Iceland. Central pressure down, well, could even be below 930 millibars. A very powerful system, not unprecedented, but a very strong one nonetheless. And that centre of low pressure moving more towards the north of Norway as we go onwards into Monday, and that squeeze around the southern flank of the low could well give the very strongest winds from this system actually across central northern parts of Scotland through into the early hours of Monday, where even wind gusts at lower levels could get to 60-70 miles per hour or more. So a very stormy start to Monday morning across the mountains, wind speeds tending to ease down through the day, but all things relative, because I suspect they're still widely gale force at 50-60 miles per hour and very squally as showers come through. Those will rattle in from the west then once again on that powerful polar maritime westerly with temperatures sub-zero above about 600 or 700 metres, snow and hail falling to the lower slopes, and the risk of a rumble of thunder in that unstable air mass that we've got again. It's not much better, really, it must be said, even into Tuesday. It's almost very similar to the week we've just had, where the beginning of the week is just seeing a cold westerly flow, belts of showers, sometimes organised into troughs. Those are the dashed black lines that are shown here, passing eastwards within that general flow, which will intensify the showers for a time. Again, there's the risk of a rumble of thunder, snow and hail to the lower slopes, freezing levels at about 600 metres, or maybe occasionally a bit lower, but it's that risk, once again, of gales, severe gales and whiteout conditions with blowing snow across the mountains, particularly in the highlands. Wednesday could well be your day, and just to watch the absolute timing, obviously 5 or 6 days away at this stage, there's the next weather system waiting in the wings, so a very brief window of a ridge of higher pressure that just builds in. We lose the showers for a time at least, and the wind may just ease away for a few hours, but just be prepared for things going downhill very quickly again as those fronts come back in with gales and heavy rain preceded by snow coming in from the Atlantic again. And if that arrives quicker, then that window of opportunity could be very short-lived, just for a time, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning perhaps. Looking at the big picture for the end of the week, and a deep low pressure system still lies around the south of Iceland and Greenland. Various rippling weather systems then due to come in from the Atlantic. The colours on this chart representing temperatures at middle layers in the atmosphere, so give a feel for the milder and colder air masses that are knocking on the door. West or southwesterly winds dominate. It may be that we see a bit of a general lift in freezing levels as a bit more of a sustained southwesterly gets in toward the end of next week, but it stays pretty unsettled with that powerful west-southwesterly flow still in charge. High pressure is tantalisingly well away toward the south. Just to put the precip onto that chart with the situation starting off on Wednesday next week, there's the next frontal system steaming in with further rain and snow. A cold front passing eastwards, a drop of freezing levels again around Thursday with showers of snow and hail coming back in. The next weather system waiting in the wings to follow that around Friday. That might be a bit further north as pressure builds a touch to the south, but brings that risk of further rain and snow in from the Atlantic. And then showers that follow in that cold westerly, trace the isobars back. It's coming around off the west of Greenland and northern Canada at that stage by Friday. And even toward the weekend, we've got to watch what happens over the mid-Atlantic once again, because there's more low pressure systems not too far away. So still not a great deal to write home about. Stay up to date with your local forecasts. Be prepared for, again, very severe conditions on the mountains. I'll update the video again for you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.